Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Friday huddle. Decided to move the camera a little bit actually because I thought I'd partly try a different bit of sunlight, bit of natural light, and partly because my office, as is the theme for these huddles, is quite a tip. I'll tell you what, I feel like a hat today. I feel like it's hat weather. So there we go. There we go. Nice and professional. Nice and professional. So I do not believe James is joining us today. So because he's got things going on, but I feel fairly confident that I can relay some of the things that have been going on, and hopefully it's not too distracting, the fact that I'm looking over at my main screen while the camera's over there. So we shall see whether this is a one and done experiment. So what's been happening in the world of the Weave, and also what's been going on in the wider community? Well, in no particular order, we can talk about. Firstly, we've still got the Essex Business Accelerator barreling along at a pace, and we were looking back and to see how many we've actually done. We've done quite a few, and I think the reason why that we keep doing them and we keep getting asked to do them is because they are really inspiring, actually, to have a collection of entrepreneurs and business owners who perhaps are unsure about certain elements of business or have difficulty in their direction, and then come to us, and through the collection and the interaction between James, Magda, and the participants, find some real clarity and purpose and direction, which is really, really great to see. And this is the reason why we keep doing it, is because each cohort offers something completely new. That's something we're going to be, I think, looking to do more of and expanding in the future, because the benefits of it really can't be overstated. Secondly, you may have noticed, if you kept an eye on the community, that there's a new space that's popped up called the Reading Room. Now, you might be getting a bit frustrated at the amount of times that we've talked about this, but in essence, the Reading Room is really a space which James is very passionate about. I think that's clear to hear. And if you've read some of the blogs and heard him on previous huddles, then you know how passionate he is about reading and the massive book musings that he's created, which will be finding their way into the Reading Room. The power of books to gain knowledge from is I think as relevant now as it's always been. I remember the old phrase of why learn from your own mistakes when you can read a book and learn from somebody else's mistakes, which is very true. And something that I'm guilty of is the fact that when you read a book, unless you're reading for entertainment, then you need to be an active note taker. You need to be actively thinking about it and picking up a pen or using a machine if that's your thing. But pen and paper or tablet and stylus is just as good. But the process of thinking about them and creating notes and creating content based on your own interpretation of the book is something that's really powerful. And we are looking forward to welcoming a very special guest to run not only the interactive cohort-based course where you learn from the book and you learn from that, but don't want to give too much away, but there might be some things beyond that if that sparked your creativity and you feel that, like all of us, there may be a book in you. So but as Christopher Hitchens once said, many people think that there's a book in them, but for most people that's where it should stay. But anyway, that aside, if you are one of these people who feels that their creativity has been piqued while learning from the first book, which, as we said last time, is Love the Problem, Not the Solution by Yuri Levine, who basically made his name, amongst other things, by creating Waze, the very popular and, I'd dare to say, groundbreaking navigation app. Sold that business to Google and now has the money and the freedom to explore the world of entrepreneurism and share his knowledge in this book. So it's going to be a great first book. I'm very much looking forward to reading it. I haven't read it myself because I wanted to save myself for the live experience, and that is something that you can sign up to by just giving us a message here on the community. So yeah, if you're interested in that, and why shouldn't you be? It's just a fantastic opportunity. Just let us know and we'll get you signed up to that. Also, based on the feedback that we got from some of the questionnaire responses that people filled out, which just let me be the first to say thank you very much for that. It was more insightful than you'd possibly know. It's really, you really can't get a better form of direction and clarity than from the people who you are creating the thing for. So this community is not our community, it's all of our community. It's a collective almost. And the feedback covered a number of things, and from that there's been some changes and some plan changes. So if you have a look down the left hand side of your community page, there is underneath community there's a roadmap, which if I just go to it now, just to give you a little idea of the sort of thing it has. I'm always a big fan of roadmaps because, for one, especially when I'm using software or something like that, it stops me from pestering the people who are making it to implement something that they're already aware of and they're going to be working on. And also it just shows me something to look forward to. You know, if there's a feature or an implementation of something that I'm wanting and it's coming in the near future, then that's something to smile about. So it's incomplete at the moment, obviously. We've only got 2 things in there, but as we finalize our thoughts on some things, then they'll be appearing there. So the first 2 things are the reading room, which is, I don't want to say it's like nearly done, but it's so close to being done. So this will be the next big announcement that you see, the next big development, and the next sort of thread in our ever-growing weave of support and resources to help people become better at what it is they want to do. And then also something that we've thought about for a while, but we're still getting our head around how it would be implemented and how we could do it in a way that wasn't contrived, is some sort of reward program, because we're really pleased when people, you know, we sort of invite people to come and join us. But what's even better is when people who are already here can see that there's some benefit and support and value in being part of this community and bringing other people along. So that's a really great thing, and those people should be recognized. And we already do have the badges, so you can have a bronze, silver or gold badge, but other than just a little bit of status and a little bit of kudos, it would be nice to have something a bit more substantial. So we are working on that. Other things that we are tinkering with in the background is certainly the toolbox. So in that vein, the toolbox is, we have, through the years of being a startup ourselves, obviously had a lot of interaction and tried out a lot of technologies and software and systems. Some of them have been fantastic, some of them not quite so fantastic, but we wanted to share that with our community, not only as a form of recommendation, but also as a way in which we can offer the use of them to members of the community. Now, we're not quite sure how this is going to work, partly because of licensing issues, but partly how it would technically work. But it's definitely something that we would like to do because, you know, with the best will in the world, we don't use these things all the time, every day. We use them when we need them. And it's a bit like that sharing economy, you know, collaborative consumption is a term that was really prevalent a couple of years ago, especially around my circles of environmental campaigning. And it's the idea that, for example, not everybody on one street needs a lawnmower, or not everybody needs a ladder. As the saying goes, you don't want the drill, you want the hole. It's not the tool itself is not the object of the desire. It's not the end result. It's not your goal. Your goal is to have a shelf put up. So in that kind of online technical vein, you don't want lots of subscriptions to lots of different services. You want the video made, or you want the conference to happen. You want the result. So we're working towards getting that sorted practically. The other thing, nearly forgot. I didn't nearly forget, actually. Let's have a sip of coffee, because I've been talking. I can't talk as long and as eloquently as James can without taking a sip of caffeine. So the other thing that we're pretty pleased about is that episode, I don't know if we mentioned this actually. No, because there wasn't a huddle. So episode 2 of the Interwoven podcast has come out, which is really nice. It's available in the community under podcasts, he says. Better be. Having just said that. Yes, of course it is. Of course it is. I thought I wouldn't have forgotten to do that. So it's in there. You can listen to it and give us your thoughts and give us your comments. But we are also looking for, because Alex has had to take a step back on doing quite a lot of what she was doing for the podcast due to various other commitments. But that leaves an opening if somebody listening to the sound of my voice wants to join me and maybe get a bit more involved in podcast creation. This could either be as an expression of your own creativity, you want to just share your voice, or it could be because you are thinking that you may want to be creating a podcast yourself and would like to have some learning on the job kind of experience. So the way in which we create podcasts isn't that complicated. It's not that difficult. And I think many people find that they have to do more. I've been saying this for years, with the workshops I ran and the training I was offering for particularly campaigning groups on how to communicate their environmental campaigning message cheaply and effectively and quickly was often the other key factor in that. But really, you don't need a lot of time, and you don't need a lot of energy, but you can still do it. You may have a guest. I do. Hello, Suzanne. How are you doing? No, this is actually a good opportunity. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because I've not actually met Suzanne yet. So maybe I don't want to overwhelm you, Suzanne, by giving you an opportunity to come and say hello.
Sorry, I'm having a bad hair day today.
Well, I'm having a no hair day.
It's a thing. So hello, Adam. Good to meet you.
Yes, no, good to meet you too. Usually for these sort of things, we're still at the stage where we're not getting a huge amount of people joining us, but it's just a place to chill out for a Friday.
Okay. No, that's good. That's good. I thought I'd come along and see what's going on, really.
Good idea. So basically, I was just sort of waffling about some of the things that we're doing, but I guess it's perfect that you're here, because you are the reading rooms person.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm really looking forward to building a course for you and taking that further. I've got, for people who are listening who don't know, so the Reading Rooms is starting out as a book club, but it's also going to then help business owners write their own business book. And I have been working in book publishing for 40 years next Tuesday. And I've been thank you, or commiserations, whichever is appropriate. And I've been a judge on the Business Book Awards for 7 years now. So I know exactly what needs to go into a business book to make it a success for its audience. And I think that's really important when you're writing a business book. It's the why you're writing this, who you're talking to, and what your reasons are for, or how you're going to use this book to help market you either as an expert, market your business, or take you further, or if you just want to have the prestige of having written a business book.
Do you find that is business one of those subjects that's oversaturated, or is it? Do people find difficulty sort of finding inspiration? Because I suppose that's my thought with a lot of things, especially creative endeavors. If you wanted to sort of start a podcast or start a YouTube channel, and you look and you think, well, what do I know about? You think, okay, well, I like this, and then you look and then you think, oh, there's already dozens of people already talking. What have I got to bring?
Yeah,
but imposter syndrome.
Yeah, it is partly imposter syndrome, but more importantly is when you look at the markets of things, like for instance podcasts, is that the podcast market is growing. It's nowhere near at full saturation point. And I've had a weekly podcast now for coming up, since January 2019. And whilst I may have a small but perfectly formed audience, it gives me the opportunity to educate my clients and potential clients about the work I do. And I think that's important if you want to start something new. But as regards the business book market, the business book market is growing, and every business owner needs to be able to have a book that says, so that if they're being interviewed at any time, they can say, read my book, or buy a copy of my book, or oh, this is in my book, or it elevates you as a business owner. I mean, if you look at any TV, radio, newspaper medium, everybody in there, every celebrity, every person is promoting a book of some kind. And what we're going to do with the reading room within the Weave is to give every business owner within the Weave the opportunity to learn how to write their own book and coach them along the process. And then there'll also be an option at the end that will help them get published as well.
Wow. So is it as scary as maybe people think? Because starting a podcast is fairly simple, but starting a book sounds like you need a big, to convince one of the big publishers or something like that.
No. I mean, the way of publishing has changed completely, and I'm sure most people have heard of self-publishing. And what we would do within the Weave is give you like an intermediary option where you're not self-publishing and going it alone, but you're going within our platform, and we will lead you to market in the same way, but as being self-published, but without having, oh my God, where do I start? Because I have no knowledge of publishing. That's where I come in. It's where I use my knowledge of publishing. I've published books for other people. I've published a book myself. I can show.
Just like that.
This book. So it's right behind, because I work career guidance within book publishing and do career coaching for publishers. And this book is Career Journeys for Young People, and it's a guide for parents, teachers and carers. And it talks through all the different stages of life-changing decisions for young people from, I think it's key stage 7 upwards to finding their first job. We successfully published that. So
sounds like me. Sounds like something I need for my kids.
Well, look, we can talk off camera. I'm always happy to give career guidance.
Are you more of a physical person, physical books, or is it you do Kindles and these sort of ebooks?
Both. It's multi-platform. So it is whether you just want to do Kindle, whether you want to do an ebook. How to get around the way of, because Kindle, if you do a discount price on Kindle, you can't then promote the same ISBN elsewhere, but to how to get around that system. how to make your book look like a book bestseller on Amazon. So lots and lots of
the inside tricks.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah, definitely sort of like a lot more than what you get by trying to just Google how to do it.
Much more. The other thing is I just want to add my badges of credibility. So this year, for the second year running, I was shortlisted for Career Coach of the Year by the Career Development Institute. But in the past 4 years, I've been shortlisted by the Independent Publishers Guild for services to publishing.
So we're very lucky to have you.
I'm very, very lucky to have you and to be here. And I'm looking forward to working with everybody, because I think it's such a great and in a unique opportunity that we're going to offer something unique to the business owners in Essex. And, I'm Essex born and bred. So
whereabouts are you based at the moment?
At the moment, I was born in Ilford. And earlier this year, I moved to sunny Leigh-on-Sea.
Oh, Leigh-on-Sea. I used to live in Southend.
It's
Westcliff. I used to live at. So,
well,
far away.
I was not far away at all. And I mean, growing up, my family lived here. My cousins lived here, and my uncle used to have a shop in London Road, and I was always here. Summer holidays, school holidays, weekends. So I don't feel too much like an interloper. I'm not one of those terrible London types that's coming to Leigh. I feel very much assimilated.
Do you do much audiobooks? Do you like audiobooks?
I like audiobooks. I listen to audiobooks mainly through the Amazon platform Audible. I sometimes do a crossover where I'm reading a book, but I might listen to bits of it as well, particularly if it's something I'm really into. And I do consume, I usually consume a lot of books. I've slowed down in the past year or two, but I usually consume a lot of books. And I can take you into the mess that is the room with all the bookshelves, if you like.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so I bear in mind I've moved home and I haven't yet unpacked all my books.
That's the reason why I've got this camera on this angle, because on this angle I've got boxes and boxes of stuff. My study is the first place.
Excuse me. So let's see if we can put on the light. And I've trying to get an additional shelf in. So there's books
Blimey, O'Reilly.
on the floor. I mean, there's books everywhere. So
are you one of these people that keeps books after you've read it?
Yes, I do. I would say, is I keep books that I've worked on or I've had a connection with the author. I do tell authors that I don't know that if they sign the copy of the book to me, I will do my best to read it. Particularly if somebody once confessed that their book was a very bad book.
That's always.
And I said he was actually a literary agent, the late Giles Gordon, and he was selling copies of his book. I was at a talk he gave, and he was selling copies of his book, and he said, "It's really a bad book, Suzanne." And I said, "Look, if you sign it to me," I said, "I promise you I'll read it cover to cover." Because that's what I tend to do. I tend to read all the books signed to me cover to cover. So I keep those. I've had a clear out of some books.
Was it bad?
No, not for me, because it was all publishing gossip and industry gossip, which after 40 years, I'm probably got quite a bit of that myself. But it's it wasn't bad at all. It wasn't bad. It was quite funny, and he was quite... Giles used to be quite a character and quite self-deprecating. Yeah. But no. And the notes, all the post-it notes on the back. So that's the... I'm on a writing schedule for my own book.
Okay.
I'm already behind. I've got these...
How many books have you done?
I haven't actually written a book. I've been working on this same book for almost 20 years. but I haven't actually published a book, but I've helped many people get their book published, or been working in a publishing house where I've been involved in the publishing process. Most of my publishing experience early on was in sales and marketing, and I sold hundreds and thousands of books to every kind of customer you could probably imagine. In recent years, I was doing some consultancy where I was doing acquisitions and buying books in for publishers. And obviously with the Business Book Awards, I've got loads of extra editorial experience about working on really business books.
But you feel the time is right now?
I do, and I'm right. I'm ready. And I
suppose
think
there is that sort of thing. Like, how can you know, especially with some of these younger people, like younger celebrities writing an autobiography in their sort of early 20s? Isn't there going to be another one coming out in about 10 years? Is it going to be sort of an updated version?
Well, I mean, it's like Katie Price has written about 25 books, hasn't she? She's published about 25 books, but most of those are probably, I can't say for certain how many of hers are, but I'd say a fair majority are ghostwritten. But don't quote me on that. But most of the young celebrities will be working with a ghostwriter. That's a professional writer who's the author in all but name.
And is that still got the stigma that it might have had?
Yes. But then I'm snobby about it anyway. I'd say it depends on.
It's a bit like you wouldn't paint a painting and then put somebody else's name on it, I suppose.
No, but if you
trying to think of a good analogy.
Well, no, but that is a good analogy. But if you look at Fake or Fortune, some of the great artists of their day, if they'd started a painting off and one of their students and finished it, it would be signed by the studio of.
Well, okay, that gives some sort of element of collaboration or some.
Yeah, but it's the obviously it's not as much value as if the painter had finished it themselves. But the ghostwriting, I mean, I'm still a bit sniffy about it, but it depends how the ghostwriter has been, what the collaboration has been.
Yeah.
If it's a matter of somebody just typing it up, or where they're just rewriting or rephrasing, but if they're actually the authors saying, like Naomi Campbell's first novel, Swan, was ghostwritten.
Okay.
And if you actually said, if the author actually said to the ghostwriter, right, I went to this party at the Groucho, and then the ghostwriter wrote up about a party at the Groucho, then knowing what they know about the Groucho Club, then that to me that's the kind of ghostwriting I'm sniffy about, really.
Yeah, so I suppose you could do it in an almost sort of journalistic style of writing it, but I guess the celebrity, the benefit for the celebrity is they want the book with their name on it rather than a book by a journalist about them.
Yeah, and sometimes it will say that this has been written by someone in collaboration with or in conversation with. Then
that makes it sound a lot less formal.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, ghostwriters have an essential job to do for people, you know, for that kind of celebrity book market. But I'd say this is where one of the saturation points of the industry is happening, is that people are very tired. Unless somebody's got really something important to say, I think people are very tired of that kind of level of book.
Mm.
But the business book market is growing phenomenally.
And I suppose the good thing about that is you get the authenticity of having the person involved in the business offering their advice, knowledge, story, and journey.
Yeah.
And that authenticity has to be there, doesn't it?
Yeah. But also, what a business book can do is it can bring you in clients. So my book is How to Job Search in Book Publishing, the Ultimate Insider's Guide. And the aim is for it to be like the kind of book that for my clients, it's like having me in their pocket.
Mm.
But also the potential clients, for people who perhaps can't afford to see me or not in a position to see me, for them to get that advice and guidance too. And then when you read a book by an expert, do you often not think, oh, where it says at the end, you know, I offer these services, and you're like, oh yeah, if only I had the money, or if only I could do that. And some people do find the money to then purchase services of that specialist author.
Yeah.
So
then
in
they'll
that
be
regard,
subscribe to your podcast, and then it's just one next step away.
Yeah, exactly. So it's their way of engaging in your business, and they're paying you for the privilege.
Excellent. And what about what's the publishing industry thinking about the AI and everything like that? It's obviously can't get away from it.
No, you can't get away from it. What I would say about AI is that I'm seeing from America and I'm seeing from the UK, from the Society of Authors, there's a potential court case coming up in America, because what the AI people like ChatGPT have done is how they sourced what we call machine learning is by scraping lots of blogs and websites to learn vocabulary and phrasing and to put it into their AI technology. Now, what has come up is that people like ChatGPT have not had copyright permission to use that material, because if you look at any web page, any blog post, usually it will say copyright, and it's protected by US or UK copyright laws, and so therefore they've breached copyright law.
See, and
that's what's happened. The other thing is that the Society of Authors has advised its members not to use any AI to work on any part of their book, because what it will do is it will then use those words to then help somebody else write something very, very similar, and they might find out that they're being indirectly plagiarized or giving parts of their copyright away without actually realizing it.
Yeah, I suppose some people don't realize that you can't really have a private conversation with ChatGPT, because it's absorbing everything and learning everything, and you know, you may have just given it your best idea and you might have found somebody else has come up as you know, if you then ask ChatGPT a month later, give me a great idea for a book, it might be your idea that it gives.
Exactly. And one of the other things, I mean, in career guidance, I'm seeing the use of AI, and you see the people talking about the use of AIs in CVs, covering letters. What I'm already seeing is on company job sites where you have to tick a box to say these are my own words, that these words were not written by anybody else, either another person or machine.
So they're starting to, it's just another form of, you know, plagiarism maybe, you know, or the fact that you've not written it. You know, if you get hired on the basis of some brilliant CV and covering letter and none of it's you only had the wherewithal to ask, write me a great covering letter.
Yeah. And I mean, seeing that, but I mean, on the subject of AI and CVs and covering letters, I mean, some listeners might remember that up until recently, Microsoft Word was saying, let us help you with, if you type the word CV or anything that looked like a CV, it would say, are you writing a CV? Let us help you with that. And then because
Clippy.
Sorry?
Clippy, the little paperclip.
Yeah, well, not so much Clippy, but recently it's been on their help thing. But it also, because Microsoft bought LinkedIn, and it says, oh, would you like us to scrape LinkedIn to find you people doing similar jobs? So people on LinkedIn who, unbeknownst to them, hadn't unticked certain box or had ticked certain box, were indirectly helping build machine learning AI to write CVs and covering letters. Because it's very odd that Microsoft had turned that off at the same time that AI has advanced and become very, very public and user-friendly.
Yeah, now obviously it's like Pandora's box. It's there, and it's just catching up and figuring out, how to deal with it. I don't know, watching sort of YouTube channels and blogs, quite a lot of them are sort of proudly have a little banner saying no AI, to sort of say this is all my own words, It's a bit like when you make a meal, did you actually make this? Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I can make a pizza.
Definitely.
Wow, this has been great to chat.
And talk to you too.
Yeah, so basically this video will be online. People can watch it again in the community, and the reading room, as I said earlier before you arrived, it's just like it's as close to being done as it can be without being done. We're sort of tinkering with the technology, tinkering with the, putting the final touches and the paint job and all that sort of stuff to it. So I'm really looking forward to it. I have to say, as as an observer, just looking forward to participating, because as I said, I don't know who said it, but everyone thinks that they've got a book in them,
Yes.
But I think Christopher Hitchens said the majority of them should stay in there.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. But they say everybody has a book in them, and with what we're proposing within the reading room, this is your opportunity to actually make it happen.
So no longer dreaming.
No, exactly. I've only just started scoping the course, so it might be a couple of months before that's online, but it is in the process. Active
development, as they say.
Yes, very much so. And just in case anybody wants to get in touch with me directly, my email is suzanne@bookcareers.com.
Excellent. Well, we'll pop that in there somewhere so people can contact you. Anyway, well, thanks for joining me.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Lovely to meet you. And talk to you again soon.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
Speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.